I'm Yodit Tewolde, and this is Making the Case. After a long break, R. Kelly's racketeering and sex trafficking trial resumed today with a former radio station intern testifying that the singer lured her to Chicago with the promise of granting her an interview. Instead, that woman says she was locked in a room for 3 days and possibly drugged. Our very own Dre Clark is at the federal courthouse in Brooklyn with her story and other testimony from day 13 of this trial.
To date, federal prosecutors have called 34 witnesses to either testify directly against R. Kelly or provide testimony supporting their case. Today, 2 more female accusers came forward telling jurors that R. Kelly was a very controlling man and he had a serious fetish for young girls. R. Kelly's federal trial is now nearing 2 weeks, and there's been no shortage of testimony accusing Kelly of being a vile and violent man. Accuser number 8, who was identified as Sonja, told jurors she met Kelly when she was 21 in 2003 at a mall in Salt Lake City, Utah. Sonja was working for a local radio station and wanted to get a big interview with R. Kelly. Kelly declined, but later someone gave Sonja a piece of paper with Kelly's phone number. She said Kelly eventually invited her to Chicago for an interview. Sonja said her trip to the Windy City was a 3-day nightmare. She told jurors she was kept inside a locked room at Kelly's recording studio, The Chocolate Factory, with no food or water for almost 3 days. Sonja said only Kelly could approve her request to use the bathroom. And she testified after she was finally given food and drink, she got woozy immediately and fell asleep. She told jurors when she woke up, her underwear were off and Kelly was standing across the room, zipping up his pants. She told jurors there's no doubt in her mind Kelly raped her. She said Kelly made her sign a non-disclosure agreement and told her to go back to Utah. She never got the interview. And accuser number 9, Anna. She told jurors she met Kelly at a concert in South Carolina in 2016. She testified Kelly was controlling. He had strict rules like no makeup, never look at other men, and in public wear only baggy clothes and hats, and never make a move without getting his permission first. She said if you broke his rules, he would spank you until you were bruised or bloody. She said Kelly recorded her having sex with other people and said he oftentimes asked her to role play as a very young girl or Disney character before they had sex. She told jurors she wrote letters claiming her mother was trying to blackmail Kelly, but she said the letters were full of lies. Kelly, she testified, made her write those things to protect him in case he was ever arrested for sex crimes. Anna said she was paid $1,500 to participate in the documentary Surviving R. Kelly. Many credit that documentary for provoking R. Kelly's demise. In New York, I'm Dre Clark for Making the Case.
The prosecution picked up where it left off, giving the jury more testimony from women who say Kelly used his inner circle to take advantage of them. Back with me to discuss the action from court today is veteran prosecutor and BNC's legal contributor, Paul Henderson. Paul, let's start with the testimony from the first witness today, who went by the name Sonja, the former radio station intern, who says Kelly promised her an interview, but instead she was locked in a room for days without food or water, then was later drugged and sexually assaulted. And the defense then pointed out that Sonja never publicly shared this until taking the stand, then hired famed women's rights attorney Gloria Allred and fabricated her stories after other accusers spoke out publicly. Now, hearing this testimony, so many questions come to mind, right? Like, how could Kelly think he could get away with locking someone he just met in a room for days, starving, drugging, then raping them? And why are we just now hearing this? This is the 8th accuser who's testified against Kelly, but how do you think the jury received her testimony?
I think they received the testimony in many of the same ways that we all received it as we're hearing it. I think the defense brought out a couple of really important points to try and undermine her testimony by talking about how long it's been since she told anybody what happened. The fact that she has hired Gloria Allred, and the fact that she had a phone with her the whole time and maybe could have told someone or done something different. And all of that goes back to me, from my lens. We can be judgmental about her behavior as a fan or her behavior as someone trying to get the interview, but we really have to look at the accountability of the criminal and illegal behavior from R. Kelly. That's the point. And so as long as we keep coming back to that same analysis or that same lens or that same focus, I think the trial is proceeding in the way that prosecutors want it to proceed. Now, what to me stood out, separate from however judgmental we may have been about this person testifying as being dumb or fan behavior, what have you, we have to look at what the jury was left with, which is yet another story of evidence, which is testimony, that's consistent with the testimony from the previous alleged victims that we're hearing about R. Kelly. And we're hearing corroborative evidence, corroborative information about R. Kelly and his rules. We're hearing corroborative evidence about things that he was doing consistently to justify the charges of racketeering or corruption. And again, the definition of that is the prosecution has to prove at least 2 instances of organized behavior for illegal purposes. And that's what we're hearing. So to me, that's the takeaway. This is another story that if you believe a part of it, and any part of it that corroborates the illegal purposes, the organized behavior that we've heard from other witnesses and other victims in the past, that's a win and a goal for the prosecution. And to me, that's really the point. And we can unpack the judgment about her behavior and the attacks about her character, the attacks about her not making calls or telling anyone earlier, and the attacks about her hiring another defense attorney for her own representation. We can talk about that, but it's in a separate box and a separate analysis from the actual prosecution that we're talking about with R. Kelly.
Well, let's talk about the one specific line from Sonja's testimony regarding Kelly's inner circle. She says that when she walked in for what she thought was going to be an interview, one of Kelly's associates offered her a condom. Now, would this support? Actually, no, this would support the prosecution's theory that Kelly was running a criminal enterprise with the help of his staff, right?
That is correct, because now we're seeing not just R. Kelly and what he's doing and saying, but we're seeing his staff and people that he is directing, presumably, giving her material that would be inappropriate or for an inappropriate purpose, right? You come in for an interview, you're not going to get that interview, but you're about to get that condom or whatever you're about to get from R. Kelly, from his staff, and that's part of him coordinating behavior with his staff and the people that are around him. And again, the issue is we have to focus as jurors and we have to focus as viewers of what is R. Kelly's behavior. Was he acting illegally? Did he have an illegal purpose or have organized behavior that was inappropriate? Even though in this case, with this victim or alleged victim and with this witness, this is someone that was of age, although we've been hearing from plenty of others who at the time were not of age, both men and women. And so, yes, that condom being offered from staff as part of her interaction with Kelly is a very important part. And I think we'll hear it in closing arguments from the prosecution raising that issue about how R. Kelly was controlling the people around him to act in a certain way to encourage or help facilitate his illegal purposes.
Now, when the defense again tried to discredit Sonja's account, another disturbing allegation was revealed. When she was asked why she didn't report the encounter, Sonja said that someone told her to, quote, never mess with R. Kelly. And after his associates photocopied her ID and, obtained other information from her, Kelly then had the addresses and names of her family members. Will that be enough to quell some of those questions that I mentioned earlier by the jury that they might have had, like why someone who experienced something that she did allegedly experience not report it to authorities?
Maybe not completely, but what it does do is it takes one more step affirming that the people around him were being directed by R. Kelly to diminish the likelihood of him being held accountable for whatever the behavior was that he was engaged in. Now we're hearing what that behavior was, but we're also hearing that he took specific, direct, and intentional actions that answers the question of why didn't they call someone? Why didn't they tell someone? Why didn't they stop or intervene earlier? Why didn't they feel empowered to do these things? Because he was grooming them, because the staff was helping them to be groomed to engage in something illegal or in something that they weren't giving consent to or didn't want to do. You can color it however you want to color it, but when you have to turn over your ID to someone whom you're afraid of or is in a different power structure than you are in, with, say, like a celebrity and you're a fan, when you have to sign and write all these documents and statements against your own family that could come out that could be embarrassing, when you have to sign a non-disclosure agreement for folks that aren't attorneys and don't understand or know the significance of these things, all of these things explain why people are hesitant to come forward and work with the criminal justice system or work with authorities. And we know that there's a hesitation even without all of those steps. But in this case, with those steps that have been orchestrated and built by R. Kelly specifically with these alleged victims, it does answer some of the questions that are being raised about their behavior. And again, I want to separate our judgment about behavior for people that are doing things that we may consider dumb or we are judgmental about, or that was stupid. But the real focus needs to be on what the team was doing and what R. Kelly was doing, because that's the focus of this trial. That's what prosecution is going to re-remind this jury after we hear from the rest of the testimony and the evidence that's being presented. And to me, that's what stands out. The information that will be used as evidence against R. Kelly in closing arguments to connect the dots, explaining why his behavior was illegal and why he should be held criminally culpable.
Well, the prosecution is expected to rest on Monday of next week. Now, Paul, if you're the defense, how would you try and stop the bleeding after weeks of this compelling and graphic testimony?
You know, I think the defense only has one way to go here, and I think the defense is going to have to show with each witness. I would be putting up a line or a chart of like, here's when the incident's supposed to happen, but here's when it was conveniently revealed to prosecution to use against our client. And then I would have a breakdown from each and every one of those witnesses that was testifying at the inconsistencies, whether they were substantive or not, to try and talk about this being a shaky foundation to rely on a guilty verdict for the client that I was representing. That said, it's not a strong leg, and the verdict, and the evidence that has coming in has been corroborative. It has been consistent. We're hearing a lot about rules from every single person that led them to engage in behavior that, again, is illegal. Basically because there's no defense, whether you thought they were lying or not, to some of the statutory rape involvement that R. Kelly was involved in. So that's what I think is going to happen. I'm looking forward to that as well.
So are we. All right, veteran prosecutor and legal contributor Paul Henderson, thank you so much for joining us. Coming up, we know that police often use stop and frisk as a pretext to harass and even brutalize Black and brown people. Now the LAPD is going one step further and using it as a tool to surveil Black Lives Matter groups online. We'll explain how next on Making the Case.